Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today and welcome to my podcast studio. Before we start on today's episode, I just wanted to take a quick moment to say I am truly grateful for you being here. It means the world to me and my guest for us to be able to share our conversation with you. If you do like what we're talking about, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. And if we do talk about something that you either agree or disagree with, please put it in the comments. We would love to hear your feedback. Also, please don't forget, I do a lot more than just podcasts. So every Tuesday, I'll put out a drum playthrough. I'll also documenting my journey on writing my solo album, which will feature a lot of guests that have been on the podcast. I'm also putting up a lot of tips and tricks of stuff that we do talk about in some of the podcasts, like insights that I get from some of the guests that share their journey in the music industry. Once again, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And again, please don't forget to subscribe. Let's get into it.
How are you anyway? How's things?
I'm good, man.
Awesome.
How are you going?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. I'm just enjoying the weather. Nice sunny day.
Nice and warm.
Yeah, nice and warm.
We've got the fireplace happening.
I can feel it in my bones. I'm getting warmer already just looking at it. It's great.
It gives you that nice sort of cozy atmosphere.
Yeah, 100%.
Good old fireplace.
Yeah, you just need a cup of tea now and we sorted.
Yeah, well, we both got our bottles of water,
yeah.
Super rock and roll.
Yeah,
or super jazzy.
Yeah.
You're actually the first sort of jazz act I've had a chat to. So
awesome.
That's interesting, man.
Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure, man. Yeah.
It's a bit scary. I've never done a podcast before, so
it's very very friendly, man.
Yeah,
it's a good environment. It's a safe space, man.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling relaxed. It's good.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Awesome. I'm loving this space, dude. It's really cool.
Yeah,
we're really lucky. And the drums in the corner, you got it made.
Yeah,
so
it's just some few minor touches, a few renovations. I'm putting up some. I know how stupid that sounds, but I'm actually putting up some curtains up here.
Yeah, for sound.
So yeah, I can just quickly use this camera so people can sort of see over here. I'm gonna be putting up some curtains here and over here. I've got a projector sitting up there, so there'll be some curtains going in there as well.
Yeah.
So we can sort of block all that up, and obviously it also does give us that whole sound aspect to it. That everything will sound hopefully a little bit nicer as well.
100%. That's cool.
So that should happen hopefully today.
Yeah, you're doing that later.
Yeah, I went out and bought all the curtains yesterday. I've got a green screen that'll go up over here as well, so you can sort of hide that behind the curtains.
Yeah, that's cool. Man of many talents.
Yeah, but it also it's just to make the most use of the space.
Yeah.
So it gives you you have different walls that you can use for different atmospheres. Obviously, this here is my podcast wall. A fireplace, and you can move the table.
Get the guests nice and relaxed.
That's it, man.
Into the zone.
Yeah, it works. It works well. I've got a bunch of pictures I'm gonna print out and put over on that.
Good old Lars.
Good old Lars, man, representing the Danish tribe.
Oh, we all grew up on Metallica, didn't we? We all have that.
Man. It's funny that what was your take on Lars Ulrich and his style? Because you're a drummer too. Let's hurry up and throw that out there. So we got a bunch of drummers here. So.
Here we go, straight down the rabbit hole with drumming. I was big fan of Metallica growing up. My cousin Dale, which I think is a friend of your brother-in-law Matt, he actually gave me my first mixtape or CD when I was 11. So we grew up in Limerick in Ireland, and he gave me a tape that had, I think it had Slayer on there, it had Megadeth, it had Metallica, I think it had Korn, maybe System of a Down. I was 11 and didn't know what hit me. I was just loved it. And went into it fully and loved the drumming, loved how aggressive it was, and it had all of that energy and just angst. And Metallica, once I figured out who the bands were on the mixtape, I asked them, who are these bands and what are their albums? I went into a CD store in Limerick. It was HMV at the time. I don't think it's there anymore. And bought my first couple of albums. I think Master of Puppets might have been one of the first ones I bought, and Korn's first album. Listened through, and loved it. Loved it. I mean, Lars always gets slack, and he always gets teased.
does, man.
There's even compilation videos on YouTube where he's doing a fill and he comes in on beat 2 of the bar, I don't know, something weird. But yeah, I mean, how many of us drummers grew up on Metallica, or people who like that kind of music grew up on him? He was a huge influence. And then, you know, you get into other things like jazz or fusion or heavier metal or whatever floats your boat, really. But yeah, I really appreciate his drumming and what he did, and also he was a business mogul for Metallica, wasn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. Like he's been very like he's definitely driven the band quite strongly on the business side of it.
You have to respect that as well.
Absolutely. And again, just to comment on the drumming part of it, yeah, like on the drumming side, yeah, he has copped a lot of shit, but again, at the same time, yeah, he might not be the best drummer technically in the world, but what he does in that band is phenomenal. Yeah. And you know the whole saying, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Like it 100%. Obviously works, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, like the main reason why I've got the two main reasons why I've got him up here is one, he's playing a Star Classic, which as again as you know I've got.
I noticed that, it's beautiful.
But the main reason is like he's probably one of the main reasons why I started playing myself. Like I got into drumming around the same time Black Album came out.
Yeah.
I was like a late bloomer. I started playing when I was like 13 and 14 and something like that. So when that came out and played along into Sandman, you know, the whole Tom
the Tom groove. Yeah. It's amazing that it's still held up the test of time. I mean, young students, young musicians now, like any guitarist who's into rock and roll when they're young, they're always busting out Metallica riffs. You know, I've heard at the schools I've taught at, they always have something from Metallica. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, the fact alone that you can play the intros and nothing else matters without even using your left hand, like if you're right-handed, it's literally just the first, the top and the bottom 3 strings.
It's like beginner friendly. You know?
Yeah, it is. But again, so is into Sandman. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it is, and the whole Black Album in general is just so user friendly, like so easy approachable.
Yeah, I 100%, and I think that when I heard the Black Album for the first time, I loved the drum sound.
But that whole album sounds so phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it obviously really sort of took a different turn compared to the last 4, and especially since Injustice for All, that was sort of quite thinly produced, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we could hear the bass again.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Nice.
It's completely
I like a bit of bass.
lacking bottom end, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, they again, they took a chance and it paid off big time.
Yeah.
Sort of really leveled them up a couple of times.
Yeah. It would have. 91 was it?
I think so. Yeah. I would have pictured 91 as well.
Yeah, something like that, and just stadium tours. Jeez, I would have loved to have been.
But they toured for years, man.
Yeah. World tours for years. That would have just
insane.
Would have been so much fun just to see them at that stage of their career.
I did though. I saw. I saw them in Denmark when they were touring.
Wow, what was that like?
Oh, it was awesome. But again, like I think I would have seen that. I think they're probably the band I've seen the most. Like them, Korn.
Korn, yeah.
There probably would be a couple of other bands, but I've seen Metallica at least 10 times, and the same with Korn, man, because. Obviously, like you're from Europe yourself, so and you know, like all the festivals over there, you know, the lineup, especially compared to when you see stuff here, right? It's like
we get left out. The WA thing, man. We always get jealous because we always get missed out on East Coast shows, and now it's even harder during COVID. So Europe, we always get jealous of their festivals.
But you know, like I was a diehard summer festival goer, so you know, I would try to hit 2 or 3 festivals every summer. And when you go, like as you know, they're usually like 3 or 4 days. Yeah. And like music starts at midday and finishes like 2 or 3 a.m.
Yeah, so you need stamina for those days.
I don't think I could do that anymore. I'm getting old.
You just be like, "Where's my cup of tea? I need a nap." You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, like those bands would hit those festivals so often.
Yeah.
So you get to see them again, like Metallica being headliners. Like they would come every say 3 or 4 years. So and in between, they would do side gigs. They would do their own tours and stuff. So.
Yeah. What a time! What a time, the 90s. I never actually saw Metallica. One of the biggest festivals I saw here was Soundwave a couple of years ago.
Yep.
They had Meshuggah, They had Slipknot. I think they had
Yeah, was
Gojira?
And was it the same one where they had like Manson and System of a Down was headlining or something like that?
I don't know if Manson was there.
Limp Bizkit was there.
I don't know if Limp Bizkit. I don't think it was that one, Soundwave,
Right.
but it had some big ones, and it was the first time I heard Gojira, Mario Duplanter. I think he's just a gun. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it was so annoying, man. Like I only got into them sort of in the last couple of years.
Yeah. He's just a machine. It's crazy.
But that band again, like the back catalogue of their songs are so unique, man. Like they really hit something special there.
Yeah, incredible. And Meshuggah, of course. I had been listening to Thomas Haig for years, and when I saw him, it was just like fanboying. Oh my god, I'm seeing this guy play. And you listen to those records and you go, how are they playing this music? And they just nailed it. It was incredible. I was actually surprised how relaxed he looked when he was playing. Yep. He looked really relaxed. I guess as you get older, you have your technique. You have to make sure that you're looking after yourself and you're not being too aggressive. I know my younger days, I would be hitting very hard and like hurt myself sometimes, you know.
But I reckon like the thing about Meshuggah, I reckon they're like fine wine. Like I reckon they've gotten better with age. Like what is it called? What's the last one with Clockworks? I forgot what that was called. Something the violent sleep of reason or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever it's called. Yeah. Like that album sounds like sounds ridiculous. Like the production is so good, and again, and like the chops that they deliver there is like, what the hell, man?
It's like, how are you doing this? It's crazy.
But like Meshuggah is in a league of their own.
Yeah,
sure, man.
I remember trying to work out what was happening on. Do you know that song Stenga? Yeah. What's going on? And just going. Oh, my head hurts.
Yeah, it's like. Good luck trying to count that.
Yeah, good luck. Have fun. And your head explodes. Yeah. There's definitely some amazing heavy music out there.
But they again, but they have done to the whole gent genre what probably like Slayer and Metallica did to like
they're huge.
Yeah.
Big influence. Yeah.
But yeah, like it's so awesome to see that they're still going strong and just,
man, I love that. You know,
it, right?
I musicians who love what they do and they stay through it all the years and they just continue to create good art, and that's
and almost
inspiring.
Get better.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, like I always think this.
Not almost. Actually,
yeah, they do. It's amazing because I know being a musician, sometimes you struggle with the idea. You get to your 30s and it's like, maybe I should just put it aside and concentrate on other things. But the artists and the musicians who just lean into who they are and just continue to create and push themselves, they just get better and better. I mean, I was watching some videos just the other night of Dave Wackol. I can't get enough of him, and his 30s and 40s were his prime. 40s were his prime. Just his playing is just insane, and he's in his 20s. He's amazing, but he just kept getting better because he kept playing and practicing, and I just have so much respect for that tenacity. You know, because it's hard. It's being an artist and continuing to do that. You know.
Well, speaking about Wackol, that might be a good segue to sort of try and lean into you and Skymachine, because that's obviously one of the main topics that we want to have a chat about. So, I remember when we caught up a couple of weeks ago, you were telling me that was sort of like what you had that epiphany that I gotta check out this music.
Yeah.
So maybe if you could share the story of how you went from listening to System of a Down and Korn and Metallica to
playing jazz. Yeah.
For people that aren't aware of what Skymachine are doing, obviously go in and check it out. We'll drop the links in the show notes here. But vastly different to Korn and System of a Down and Metallica.
100%. Geez, where do I begin with that? I think my journey into jazz, I was maybe 18 and I found an old video of Buddy Rich on YouTube.
Yep.
And it blew my mind. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then as you do, you find other videos and recommended videos, and I found Wackol. watched what he was doing. He was doing, I think it was the video, and it's still online, of him playing a solo at Drum Tech in Melbourne. It's like a drumming festival, and it was him and his band. They were playing a Latin tune and him just going for it. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, and so I went on Google and tried to understand a bit more about him and what he did. And he had studied jazz, and that basically set me off on this life journey where I thought, okay, I'm gonna try it and see what happens. And it wasn't easy from my background being a rock heavy alternative. I grew up playing that music when I was a teenager in bands in Perth, playing that heavier style of music. So when I started playing jazz or trying to, it was a hard transition. It's not easy learning finesse, and I'm still struggling with that. I'm still trying to learn that to this day. But yeah, I went to WAPA and I studied there. I did my jazz course. It wasn't easy. It definitely pushed me a lot, and I learned a lot of things, and I grew as a person and a musician. But yeah, after that, it was funny. I was studying jazz, and then I ended up getting really frustrated and joining a metal band called Anchored, and I dropped out of uni.
I had enough of this jazz.
Yeah, I had enough. I just I couldn't make sense of it. But yeah, for a couple of years I was playing metal again, and then I went back and finished the degree, and then just playing covers and that in Perth and trying to figure out what I'd do next. And I was doing a prac placement in a school. I met the guitarist for the project Skymachine, David, and we kind of chatted and said, wouldn't it be cool if we did a fusion thing? This was in 2017, and we were just chatting, and then it kind of just was in the back of my mind for the last couple of years since then, and we finally bit the bullet in 2020 and had a jam. David had some music, I had some music written, and we got together, we found some players, and we had a play, and we gelled and had a lot of fun. We thought, okay, let's see what happens and let's move this forward. And it was that influence of bringing jazz, which I've studied, and not the traditional style, because I mean the traditional bebop stuff is very swing oriented, but bringing groove and funk and fusion and that kind of jazz element to it, and then marrying it up, I guess, with a bit of metal and a bit of rock and roll. I mean, the last release we put out, Terraforming Mars, has a big section at the end that goes pretty heavy. David had he's got a Slipknot emulator pedal that he uses for that, and we just go pretty heavy. And the next release is actually even heavier, so we're kind of leaning into that a bit. And then when we decide to do an album, it'll be eclectic. It'll be a bit of everything, and it's fun. It's
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of the clips you got online. Yeah, there is this what is it, like 7/4 or something like that? Some proc pattern almost.
Yeah. So it's in 7 for the whole song, and then at the end it goes into 26/8. It's a group of 7/7/7/5. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's
for all the mathematicians out there.
Yeah, all the mathematicians. So that one is definitely fun to play.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So we kind of blended the song, just kind of chill for a bit in 7, and it has that fusion jazz element, and then at the end it just goes hell for leather, and let's just beef it up and make a big riff and see what happens. And yeah, it's good fun. And our sax solo, just sax player goes for it, and over that we said, how about you just take a solo in that bit? And yeah, he just killed it.
Awesome, man. No, it sounds super interesting, man.
Yeah, it's fun.
And again, like it might be good to try and have a chat about like the actual Terraforming Mars as you were talking about. So how that's come in installments. But I'll throw it to you and sort of let you introduce it, because it's a super. I was super fascinated about the whole concept.
Yeah, it's fun. It started. Well, the first release was 1947, so it just started really as a question of what if some ancient tech was found and crashed or something, and it was discovered by a secret group, and what would happen? What would that mean? It was really just a question. So I wrote a narrative to go with the music, and it started that way. It was just posing something, and there wasn't any big broad scheme plan. And then after that release, I started thinking, okay, well, where could that go? What that question? Where could that take us. And so then I started planning out this prologue series, a release of 4 parts. So that 1947 was the first part. And then I started writing the narrations for the second part, which is Prototype, and then Terraforming Mars, which is the third part. We just released that, and then the fourth part yet to be announced or titled or anything, but that's coming soon. So I thought I like science fiction and movies and art, and I thought it'd be fun to marry everything up and try to create something that was interesting to me, just to be a part of and do, and that's what we've been endeavoring to achieve with this project, and it's fun. Like we have big plans for the next couple of years, and we were talking about running projects and thinking of them as businesses and how you go about just wading through a market that is so saturated, and so having a uniqueness to the music that it tells a story. It's not just a love, like a lot of music is about love and relationships and our lives as human beings, but I thought it'd be interesting to explore a science fiction world and create a world that goes with the music, and that's what we're trying to do, basically. Yeah. In a nutshell. I hope anyway. I hope that's what we're doing.
But again, I'm gonna put my hand up and say, I'm not the biggest sort of jazz fusion fanatic, but I got sort of really drawn to that. But I think it's also because I sort of knew the backstory. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it.
And I think that would be a really good place to start. So actually, because I think you'd be able to get a lot more people on board by having that sort of visual aspect to it, or having that storytelling aspect. To it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I mean the songs are great, you can tell that you guys are great musicians and all that. So everything sort of really ties well together in the musical part. But it gives it that really super grand extra dimension to it by the time you know that whole storytelling about it, and these different characters and that sort of storyline that you are sort of planning to
I think into it. I think that's exact. I'm great to hear, because that's what we're going for, because jazz can be polarizing. Like, you can take it or leave it, and some people don't like that music, so being able to color it with a bit of science fiction and artwork and something that gives the audience another point of access, so they might really like the characters that are being created or the story or the world that's being built, and then just like that part, and then start to enjoy the music. Just by enjoying the story, they'll be drawn to the music as well, because it colors the story. Or some people might just like the music and then might read the story and get into that, and that's what we're trying to do. Give it multiple points where people can access it and get into it and create, enjoy the art and enjoy the story and the music, and hopefully give them a good experience.
But I think also, it might also be worth pointing out here that obviously there is, when you say jazz, there's so many aspects of jazz. Same way when you say rock, of course. Rock or metal even, you can have, your Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, but you can also have, System of a Down or Korn, new metal and stuff like that.
It's so broad.
So jazz has an extremely broad sort of array of music, and some of it is super easy and super nice to listen to. For me, especially as background stuff.
Yes.
I do find some jazz super soothing.
Yes. I agree.
But there's also other stuff that almost gives me a headache, because it's far too complicated and all these weird odd tones, and
like free jazz. That's something I can't get into free jazz, which is,
I think it's because my brain can't comprehend it. I don't understand it. It's literally, to me, it sounds like it's like white noise almost.
I can't comprehend it sometimes myself. Most of the time,
but whereas your music or Skymachine is a lot more approachable, because as you said, it does blend it with sort of the more straight, the more straightforward patterns that you can sort of relate to, that you do here in normal sort of rhythmic music, rather than the whole jazz where everything just flows all over the place.
It's going crazy
completely.
It's good to hear, because we're going for that. We're trying to make it accessible, and we're trying to. Jazz is such an amazing style of music. I think even though, like I said, yeah, it can be polarizing and parts of the music can be difficult to listen to, it's this wonderful thing where musicians get to be creative and to tell stories on the stage. Improvisation being part of that is the biggest thing that I'm drawn to in terms of jazz, being able to create music on the fly and talk to other musicians through music and have fun and have that connection. I love that about the style. That's one of the things that definitely keeps me coming back to playing jazz. Is that, and there are parts of it that can be complex and hard to understand. Like for me, I still have to work on my theory and stuff, and when I'm trying to write songs, the harmonic structures and getting those right, it's difficult, but it's definitely a fun challenge. And playing that and I feel lucky to be playing with the lads in the band, because they're all, playing jazz sometimes can be intimidating. Like I always felt intimidated playing the music, especially studying it, because you're surrounded by these incredible lecturers who have been playing the music for so long, and they look so effortless when they're doing it, and their playing is insane. And as a student, you think, oh my God, what? I give up
now before it's too late.
I'm tagging out. I'm done. Like even in Perth, there's just some insanely incredible drummers that, like one of my lecturers, Ben Vanderwall. Like anytime I watch him play, my mind is blown. It's incredible. So being able to play with musicians in Skymachine that make me feel comfortable playing that music is a huge thing for me, because I know previously when I had played it, I kind of didn't feel comfortable, because sometimes there can be an element of, I don't know, if there's a really good player, if you're not as good, they might kind of look down on you. Sometimes, not all the time. I think that's a cultural thing, like that gets improved over time, but I definitely felt like unworthy sometimes.
Right.
And being able to be surrounded by good people and good players that don't have that is a blessing. It's really nice. And I think the music then is allowed to speak more freely for itself, because if everyone feels comfortable playing with each other, and we all have each other's backs, it's like, okay, if you stuff up, it's cool, we can laugh about it, and no one's gonna kind of go, oh, what are you stuffed up, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. But I think like it'll almost be impossible to find a situation where everybody is exactly the same skill level. You know what I mean? And it's the same. It's the same with a lot of other areas in life. Again, like you just gotta be able to understand the situation and then just make the most of it. As you said, let the art create.
Yes.
The action, because that is ultimately what people will listen to.
Yeah.
Like if you're in the audience and you have to be at your absolute A game to play the drums, but the guitars is like so effortless. You know what I mean? He just does his stuff. As most audiences, you probably would never notice that, because you listen to the music, like you embrace, you embrace the art, like you let the music speak.
Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful thing when bands find that, when a group of players are able to play together in that way, in any style. It doesn't have to be jazz, it can be rock and roll. You hear that in multiple contexts where people, you can tell they're enjoying playing with each other. And that, as an audience member, then you're going, oh, this just feels nice.
I get that every time I go and see Karnivool, for instance.
Yeah. Here we go, Karnivool, going down the rabbit hole. Oh, man. Let's talk about Karnivool.
I went to see them. So they had that Sound Awake reunion tour. Yes, and I went to see them on both nights. That's a whole different story. I only bought for one night, but anyway, I ended up going both nights, and just watching them play that entire album for me was so special, because that's kind of like my main introduction to Karnivool. Like, because that album came out, around the same time as I arrived in Perth. 11 years ago.
Oh.
But that album, as you probably know, like the musicianship in that album is
incredible,
freaking nuts,
impeccable.
Man. Yeah, and then seeing them deliver that like flawless.
Yeah,
and not just that, but like. And like Steve on the drums, like
it's nothing. Like it's nothing.
It makes it look so easy, man.
Yeah, it's they're amazing. And like you, huge influence. I mean, Asymmetry, Skymachine. That's why I called the band Skymachine.
Oh, wicked.
After that song.
Yeah, nice, man. Yeah.
All of their work I love, but Asymmetry was cool. It was different, and that song on that album, I don't know why I was drawn to it. I don't know why, but and then when, man, naming things is so hard. It's so difficult, but yeah, I kind of took that and went, okay, Skymachine. That sounds.
It's such a cool name.
Yeah,
man. Like it sounds badass.
Yeah, it's cool.
It sounds sci-fi.
Yeah, it sounds. Yeah,
exactly.
It has all of those elements. Yeah. So thank you, Karnivool.
and again, it's a band name that could be crazy metal, like it could be like a gent band, it could be prog rock, it could be it could be a pop band, and it could be a sci-fi jazz fusion mix, like this hybrid.
Yeah, it is, and I think a good band name is mysterious in that way, isn't it? You don't know what you're going to get until you hear the music or you read the story or whatever it is. Yeah, but yeah, man, Karnivool, incredible. Yeah.
Did you know that on the first album, Drew, the guitarist, played drums on the Themata. Yeah,
it's incredible, isn't it? Yeah, it's nuts.
And even the drums of that album go like, damn.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. I imagine like the pressure, like if you're coming into that band having to be the drummer, if you're like auditioning or something around that time, like that Steve would have been. I can imagine it would have been scary. Or at least I would have been scared. Oh, I better not stuff this up. Yeah, that album. When was that? 2005 was it? I think I was year 11 when that came out.
Yeah, it was quite a few years before Stand Awake.
Yeah,
it was like I think 5 or 6 year gap or something.
Yeah, that came out when I was in year 11, and I was playing in a like alt rock band called Crownfold. What a name!
Nice
type of name you have when you're a teenager, Crownfold. And I think it was a singer came to a band rehearsal with the album. Was like, check this out, and we all just stopped rehearsing and listened to it, and just went, whoa.
All right, I'm going home, man.
Let's just put the sticks away, put your guitar away. Yeah, incredible. And then, like you were saying earlier, it's like a fine wine. Musicians who keep working on their art. Sound Awake was just incredible. And then Asymmetry. I mean, there was criticisms about the production on Sound Awake. Sorry, not Sound Awake, on Asymmetry, or where you read about that, but it's an incredible album. It's
probably. I think I might have to actually come back to that because I gave it so many chances, but
I did.
Never. I think it's also. I think it's because I had my expectations up so high after Sound Away.
I know.
Like, how are you going to top that? Like you put out Themata and then you put out Sound Away. It's like you got to get like the absolutely epitome. So I mean, there are some. I mean, obviously the first single "We Are" that came out was I loved that. I loved the sound. I loved that sort of like slap delay on the bass.
Yeah, and a tribal drum pattern is cool. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
But then I don't know. It might be an album I have to come back to then and give it some chance because again, like obviously, I'm sure it'd be the same. Like your musical taste develops over time as well. Like you start listening and you're being exposed to other genres and people start creating new music.
Yeah. That's it. I think I don't know why, because I think a lot of people felt that way. And it might have been the production, it might have been the sound, like the songs or whatever it is. But geez, imagine them trying to follow up Sound Awake and then have an album come out. The pressure there would be interesting.
But think about this though. It's been when did Asymmetry come out?
2013.
Yeah, I was about to say it was only a couple of years after Sound Awake. Yeah. See, that's 8 years ago now.
Yeah, it is. We're all waiting. If any, we're all waiting for the next one.
But they have a couple of new songs that they've played live multiple times. And they sound awesome.
Yeah,
they sound really
pretty
good.
heavy. Yeah, I think.
I can't remember. They played that. I don't know. It's probably going to be the first single, but they played that at the Sound Awake album shows as well. Yeah. I don't know, for whatever reason I can't remember the title now. But that is such a cool song.
Yeah, they're incredible songwriters. Incredible. Yeah, we're all waiting. hurry up, Karnivool, release your next. Please,
Get it out now.
Please, we're all waiting for it.
Yeah, I suppose it'll come out when it's ready.
That's it. I mean, like Tool. How long was it between?
13,
14, something like that before
let's start on Tool, man. Like Tool, what's your opinion on Tool?
What's my opinion? Oh God. Well, you know what? Tool I was a late starter on Tool, so I grew up on what we talked about, Slayer and all of that, and then maybe late teens, I got my first introduction to Tool by a friend. I can't remember who it was, but I started listening to it, and it was interesting because it was more progressive. It wasn't just straight thrash like Slayer, or it wasn't straight hard rock like Metallica on the Black Album, or even thrash metal in the earlier albums. So it was more of a journey, and their songs would go for so long, and I was drawn to that progressive nature of how they created music. Danny Carey, I think, is one of the greatest players of all time. I love his I love the tribalness, you know, the tom grooves and how he does little fills with the double kick, and I love that. I do. Yeah, I'm a fan of Tool. Yeah, I like them. What are you not a fan?
I can't say I'm not a fan, because obviously, like I agree with you. Like Danny Carey is a phenomenal drummer. And they're all phenomenal musicians.
Yes.
Like I love James Maynard Keenan. I personally Maynard. Yeah. I personally like his Perfect Circle better, to be honest.
Oh man. They're amazing.
But Tool, to me, it's a band that I can listen to a couple of songs, and then I need to listen to something else.
Yeah. Well, they're so long.
It's not just that. It's not just that. I don't mind bands creating long songs.
Yeah.
But it's just like it becomes almost a little bit too monotonous, I reckon.
Yeah, they do. They do go for, like, some sections of their song are very long and don't change too much sometimes.
I mean, I was same as most other people. I was excited to hear the new album.
Yeah.
And when it came out, I was like, did that really take 13 years? Like it's a great album. Don't get me wrong. And you can hear that they obviously they've written some really interesting and new complex songs as you would expect.
Yeah.
But I reckon had that been pretty much almost any other band than Tool, they would probably have copped a lot of shit for it. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, probably.
But like had that been a brand new band or something, that had released that same album, I don't think you would have gotten the same sort of big attention as that got. I think it's because it had the Tool logo on the album cover. You know what I mean?
I would agree with that. I think I listened to it once and I didn't come back to it. That new album, I listened to it once, but the ones I come back to are like, is it 10,000 Days?
Yeah, 10,000
Lateralis.
Yeah.
Those ones. They're the two that I kind of would have on rotation. But yeah, they're cool.
They are.
They're cool. But there's some songs where, God, I think it's on Lateralis or 10,000 Days. There's like a 9-minute song where it's just the same. They don't I can't remember the name of it.
But look, I mean, to give you my idea of Tool, like I've seen them live twice.
I've never seen them live. What are they like live?
Same as the album, like, and it sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I've never finished the concert because I saw them at a festival, and I kind of have to go and see them. But like halfway through, to go like, all right, I think I've seen enough. Because again, like I can't. It becomes too. It goes too much into that same. I don't know what it is about because. It's I think my brain might not be able to comprehend too much of that, because it is such a maybe it is a long song. I'm not sure, but there's just something about it, man.
Yeah, well, I think that's the beauty of art as well. It's subjective. Like, everyone's going to have their own take on things and what they like and what they don't like, and that's as an artist, that's what that's the role of the dice that you take sometimes when you make something, isn't it? It's not going to be for everyone. And
exactly.
Like I think you were saying to me when we caught up a couple of weeks ago, you got to find the people that it does resonate with, and as a marketer, I'd agree.
Because that's the beauty of any art in general.
Yes.
Like, like any art will have a audience.
Yeah.
It might it just comes down to how many and where they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And how good you can sell it. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but obviously, like, if you get someone who's like a diehard fan, so again, that's like again, Tool is definitely not for everyone.
Yeah.
Neither is Meshuggah, neither is Metallica or Slayer, but the fans that where it really hits home, like they, where they go out to the extent they get like a Slayer tattoo or like a Metallica logo on the arm or whatever it is. Yeah. Like, obviously those guys are diehard fans for life.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
And if you can go and you can find people that would, and I think in your case and with your project, just to try and get it back to that.
We're going off on tangents.
But that's the beauty of having a conversation. I think in your case, it's the fact that you can tie it into the sci-fi audience as well.
Yes,
and you can even tie it into that sort of like comic book. The animated universe as well.
Yes, yeah, that's huge nowadays, isn't it? And like Marvel, the shared universe that they've created, and the streaming services putting out all of these new sci-fi shows. There's all of this. I think there's need for it. New content, new creation, and new world building, because people are hungry for that. They're hungry for good stuff. I think, like something with substance, and there's a plethora of sci-fi out there now with these new streaming services, and I think there's a market for that, because there's people interested in that as well. So like you were saying before, and like I was talking about, maybe someone doesn't care at all about the music, but they just really like the artwork and they really like the story, and they don't want to listen to the music. And to me, that's okay. Like if you're enjoying the story, that's cool. It's interesting from a running the project, just trying to think of all of these points of attention, how you draw people in, and hopefully how you draw people in a way that will actually get that trifecta where they're liking the music, they're liking the story, they're liking the artwork, and they're just hooked. They want in,
Just a crazy comparison that I just thought of now was like, if you look at something like Star Wars, if you look at something like Game of Thrones, where you have these really, really strong theme songs that are so, like, when you hear the intro to Game of Thrones, like everybody goes like, whoa, that's so cool.
Next episode, what's gonna happen? Who's gonna die?
Yeah, exactly. And when you hear like the intro to Star Wars, like instantly you know that's Star Wars, and then at the same time you got the books behind it.
Yes,
like you got George Lucas's entire Star Wars universe, where obviously all the movies only creates like a fraction of everything that's out there. And same thing for Game of Thrones, except they actually ended up sort of superseding the books and sort of went on their own.
We're still waiting for the last book.
Finishing everything there. But the thing is, like, you have all three elements. Like, you have these extremely powerful songs.
Yes.
You have the visual. So for people that haven't read the books or haven't heard the music, you have the actual video or the actual movie.
Yeah.
And you might have people that are, like diehard, classical musicians, love John Williams, and say, wow, check out this Death March or whatever it's called, and you have all these really, really
so
strong,
good, John Williams.
You have all these really, really strong themes that when you put them on, bang, you instantly know that's it. Indiana Jones, that is Star Wars, Superman, and so on and so forth. So I think that gives you a really wide array of opportunities compared to a lot of other bands that will only really have the music. And
touch wood, fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's it. and a potential live show, which you would have the option to do also.
I have so many ideas for a cool live show. It's just budgeting and production for that. I mean, at the moment we're just playing small shows where it's mainly focused on the music and playing that, and then giving little tidbits. I'll talk and say this song is about such and such, and it's about this part of the story. Because initially, like I was saying, with when we were releasing the first part, I didn't know if it would be each song would be a separate story or what it would be, but it ended up being just this big world. It's everything, and all the music is all connected to all the story, and we're just trying to grow and build. So when you come and see a live show, it's not a massive production, because obviously we're still growing, but I think what we can offer is that behind the scenes of the songs, you know, what it's about.
Tell like try and present the story like the whole like how, because obviously what you're doing at the moment is like the intro to the to the whole universe.
Yeah, it is. The prologue series is literally just the beginning. So when I started writing it and it was all coming together and forming, I was really excited because I thought, well, this is just, these 4 parts are just the beginning of something. It's giving the lore, it's giving backstory to some of the characters and some of the world building and some of the, you know, some of the things that occurred in this world to lead to some of the world being built and this organization having advanced technology and getting to Mars and all of that. So, and creating Isaac the super soldier, all of those things. So this prologue series is a setup for something bigger. And that conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago was when you were talking about partnership agreements and we were talking about all those things, definitely got me thinking about, well, what do I need to do for the next thing? And so I actually have been working on that over the last couple of weeks and have started to make the beginnings of an agreement with the artist that we're working with, and we'll be announcing the next big thing at the beginning of 2022. There's something big coming.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, the prologue series is literally just the start. It's just giving you a taste of the world and how it came to be and some of the characters in it, and then the next stage will be going even deeper and seeing what happens to those characters and maybe some heartache and some conflict. Maybe, you know, anything can happen really with this story. So that's the plan. That's the plan.
That's so cool, man.
That's it's fun. Hear, it's fun. Yeah. I had a meeting the other day that was I got really excited about us. I thought, okay, this is gonna be cool. We've got something very cool coming. Yeah, very cool. It'll take time, but the way I'm looking at this project is 20-30 year. You know, I'm not in any rush. Wow. You know, I'm not. You know, the things that I love, like you were saying, Star Wars and, you know, the comics like Superman. They started 60, 70. Well, Superman, those comics started a long time ago.
The first Star Wars movie came out the year I was born.
Yeah,
that's 43 years ago.
Yeah, and it's still going. You know, you create a world, and your hope is that you can create it and put it out into the world, and it'll grow and turn into something big that doesn't stop. You know, so that's what I'm going for with this project, is to keep growing it and keep pushing it and see where it takes us and takes me, and what, you know.
It's so cool, man.
Yeah,
it's so fascinating.
It's fun. It's fun, and I'm so glad I have the opportunity to marry all these things together. My love of science fiction and video. I mean, we could talk about all of those things that came into it. I mean, there's the music that influenced me, but there's also, you know, things like Star Wars and movies and video games. Like Metal Gear Solid is a huge influence for me when I was a kid growing up playing PlayStation. I played the first one and the second one. I didn't play the third one because I think I went to Xbox. I joined the dark side. But then I went back, and so yeah, that, you know, video game characters and the world building, and that is incredible in like Metal Gear Solid. It's amazing, you know, incredible. And then other games like God of War, like aside from the music, and in those games they've paid attention to the music and the atmosphere that it creates with the story. It's incredible. But the world building, I love that, and how they've created those characters, and you start to care about what happens to them, and that's another really element. Yeah. That's another element to the project. You know, it's not just about the music. It's about creating a world where characters exist and things happen to them, and you might get invested to their stories, and maybe hopefully the music will color that and make you feel something while you're reading or watching or whatever it is. That's the idea. Anyway, it's fun.
Yeah. That's actually a really cool approach. I haven't actually thought about that for quite some time because I think the last video game I played was Diablo 3.
Yeah.
And like all those games like Warcraft and all that stuff. Yeah, you're right. Like it creates huge worlds.
And the amount of effort that those developers and illustrators and writers would have had to,
and music as well,
and musicians, they would have all had to collaborate to create this world and make it something. And that I love that. That's cool. I respect people who do those things and
for sure
have the balls to just go for it and create something and create a world, or just let it all on the line.
That would obviously be a whole different scope to add to it. But yeah, like a Skymachine video game.
Oh, I'd love that. That'd be great. Maybe one day.
But you never know. Like, you know, as you said, if your plan was to sort of just build this over the next couple of decades, then you never know in say 10, 20 years if you could sell the rights to
copyright. That's aside from the pure creative side of being a musician and being an artist, you have to have something to sell to the market, and you want to make some money, you want to make a living, you want to be able to make your investment back. So if you create something that has all of these points, you can create merch, or you could, I don't know, I was talking to the artist about 3D printing. You know, we have a character, the super soldier called Isaac. You know, it's cheap to, well, hopefully cheap to print out things. So you could create little, 3D models of the characters and sell those, and just get people involved in the world through that way. If you do it right, I suppose that's the art.
Also, the option of sort of, if you are sort of thinking a little bit into the future, thinking about it, as we sort of briefly spoke about, the fact of like producing NFTs.
Yeah, man, I was fascinated by everything you said with that when we had that conversation. That was fascinating. I did a bit of peripheral research, but not enough.
I'm very infant stages as well, but I know there's huge opportunities there, and it's so fresh. Like there's so few artists that are doing it already.
Yeah,
but huge earning potential because again, all you need, like you need people that has that collector gene.
Yes,
and if you can get really good at sort of creates scarcity where you only have a certain amount of those special super special editions available, where you sort of you add different items into that sort of digital token, which is sort of like fully copyrighted on the blockchain. Then all you need to do, you just need to find someone that needs all of them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, gotta have them all. Gotta catch them all.
So,
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it?
All right, I got the first 4, the prologue series, and now there's another one coming out. And there's another one next year. And the really cool thing, this is what's extremely fascinating for musicians, or for anyone really who's using NFTs, but musicians in general who are usually sort of getting shafted by Spotify and Apple and record labels and anything else in the music industry. Yeah. Here, you can you can set it up with having an ongoing royalty every time the token is resold.
That was fascinating when you told me that.
And because it's digital, it'll be embedded in that forever. Yeah. So every time somebody trades it, you can add a 30% royalty rate. So if that's sold for, say, the equivalent, because obviously everything is exchanged in cryptocurrency, and usually Ethereum. If for people that are into crypto, they would know what Ethereum is, no doubt. But but that obviously fluctuates in value.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, to say it's the equivalent to $1,000, you'd pick up $300. Every time it's sold. If it's $10,000,
it's pretty incredible. And it's a whole new world.
It is, but it's so fascinating.
It is
because again, it's at the end of the day, it's not rocket science.
No.
And it's available. It's out there now. It's fairly simple to do, but you just need to. You need, again, same thing. You need to have the audience. You need to have someone to sell it to.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? That's it. You need to have eyes and ears looking at your project and going, okay, what have you got? What have you got? What are you gonna give me?
But the whole thing, man, this is again another thing that fascinates me personally about crypto in general, is the fact is like you see how especially how the US dollar is going at the moment. They just keep printing. Money.
I've seen that. They just keep printing money, and it just drops the value, keeps dropping the value. Yeah.
And then you've got this other thing that obviously, like, it's sort of like it's like the Wild West at the moment. Obviously, like with everybody can put out, you know, like a coin with a dog face on it, and people goes.
You know, I actually bought some Dogecoin, just for, you know,
but
just
there's
for
so
fun.
many other now. You know, you got that little Shiba coin and like a Kita, whatever it's called and stuff. So, but it's the fact that it's so unregulated, but at the same time it is so, like, because it is decentralized, because you can sort of, like, it doesn't, obviously it fluctuates heaps, but real life money, like when you're looking at especially the US dollar, like I'm super curious to see how that'll look in, say, 5 or 10 years time.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, it is interesting. I have no idea. It's a brave new world with crypto, and it hasn't gone anywhere. It's been around it just seems to be getting.
It's been around, for just over a decade now. About a decade.
And I think it's just entering into the mainstream more and more, like more and more.
Absolutely, like Dogecoin or Dogecoin or whatever people call it it was probably like the real mainstream coin after Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Elon talks about it was an Ellen DeGeneres, and
it's strange. And what tripped me out, the fact that I think I read an article and said if you bought $100 worth of it back in January, you could have made like 20 grand or something ridiculous. And you think, geez, there are probably a number of. It's kind of like gambling, and you have to be.
It is.
You kind of have to be willing to not have an attachment to the money that you're putting on a coin, but. There's probably coins out there for 0.005 of a cent or whatever it is that you could buy $100 worth, and then maybe in 2 years it could be worth $1, and then you've made an insane profit margin. Yeah,
you just move the zeros.
Yeah,
on the other side. Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy. It's interesting to me, and I think when we had that coffee, you talking about that definitely kind of made me think more. About learning.
I mean, crypto to me is super fascinating. It's also, actually, if you are looking into like, say, the day trading aspect of it, it's like the ultimate lifestyle for a musician. Hey,
well, you said you got some skills there.
So again, and same as everything else, it is not rocket science. It's like if you learn to understand reading a chart and sort of looking at candles and stuff, you know, it's probably super boring for people listening, but and we probably shouldn't go too far down there. I mean, but it is. My whole point about it is if it's a skill you reckon that you would like to learn because you'd like to understand it to begin with. So again, it's the same as understanding a new genre and a new instrument or something, a new language.
Yes.
It is, for me, learning how to chart and learning how to read the market. To me, it was like learning a new language. And it's something that's super, like, you can learn it honestly in probably a month or two. And then it's just practice from there. Same as learning a new instrument or learning a new language. You just got to get out there, talk to people, or sit at home and practice.
It's fascinating,
and you can do $10 trades. You don't need to sit and do, like, you know, hundreds of thousands or gamble your life savings away or lack thereof.
Well, you hear those stories. I can't buy my sandwich now. What am I gonna do?
That's it, man.
I'm going hungry.
I'm stuck to my tap water. So.
No Avion for you or whatever it is. You know, no fancy stuff.
No Cristal.
That's right. You buying, like, I'll have to buy Cole's tea instead of, you know, I don't know, Tetley. It's a bit more expensive.
Man. But anyway, just to finish off on the crypto part, like NFTs, I reckon that is something that's watch this space.
I'm definitely gonna keep reading about that for future releases, because that definitely sparked something when we had that conversation. It's cool.
And there's already people out there that have made millions.
It's mad.
It is
mad.
It's unbelievable, actually.
It's mad.
But again, all it takes someone who's got that collector's gene. Who's got the money. And who likes what you're doing.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
Again, it's not going to be easy to find, but it's not going to be impossible either. But it's going to, like, again, like, if you got a couple of years and, you know, 10 years even, like. Start looking for them.
Well, I am. I'm putting the feelers out online. I guess we're in the building stage, essentially the last 2 years, just trying to put out free content, tell people about what we're doing, and try to get them interested. And the next step is, well, which is coming later, is having something to sell.
Yep.
So yeah, that's where we're at. But it, like we're saying, takes time, takes patience. It takes patience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a long game, isn't it? Being a musician, you have that's and I guess it does tie back to what we were saying before about musicians and artists who stay in the game. They kind of age like fine wine, because you learn as you grow. You learn more about the industry. You learn more about yourself as an artist. You learn more about business.
Yep.
You learn more about the business of being an artist. I mean, I think I've learned more about that in the last 2 or 3 years. You know, my wife and I sometimes have discussions about music business and the Perth industry and how to make a living from music, and I think those sorts of discussions are really useful because you grow from them, and because that's a big chunk of it, isn't it? As an artist, is that side, which I think personally, and I've been there myself, some people don't like. I mean, you just as a drummer or as a guitarist or as a musician or artist, maybe you just want to do your thing in that realm. And for years I was the same. I just, leave me alone. I don't care about the business stuff. I just want to play drums. I want to be in my practice room getting better. But as I got older, you kind of, if this is something that you want to continue to do, you hit a wall where you're like, you kind of have to learn that. You have to learn those parts of being an artist. And yeah, the last 3 years have definitely been interesting. And then finding people like yourself who think in that way, like we were talking about before. You're passionate about what you do and playing music, but you also are thinking about things from a business perspective and from a different angle. Like, how am I going to tackle this? What are the strategies I'm going to use? Who are the people that I can find and talk to and have a connection with that do think that way? And we can all raise each other up, and maybe the industry will get better. I mean, there's already talk you see online of people in the industry trying to make it better and trying to improve it for artists and make it easier for them to make a living, because it's not exactly the easiest industry.
No, but at the same time, it is it's one of those things where again, if you, how should I put it, like, you get what you put into it. So if it is something, if your main focus is to get really good at playing drums, or get really good at playing guitar and stuff like that, and you have no ambitions of making it into like you obviously have big plans and big dreams, and obviously if that's what you want out of it, then all the other stuff has to happen, and the sooner it happens and the more time you can dedicate to it, the quicker or the higher the chances, or the luckier you're gonna get.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
well, that's it, isn't it? Lucky, you make your own luck sometimes by who you
absolutely
surround yourself with, and
and again, I can't remember if we had a chat about that, but obviously, like, the sooner you start collaborating, and sooner you start having people included, you instantly up your man hours available. So and obviously, I definitely remember I told you that. You know,
you did. Well, I said I went and had a chat with the artist because of that conversation and business partnerships, and that you're 100% right.
And having partners where you can say, look, we're gonna go in and we're gonna do this here as like a joint venture. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna work out a deal that you're happy with and I'm happy with, and we focus and we work as partners. Then you will access each other's networks, and you're gonna be working towards the same goal. So all of a sudden, you're gonna alleviate some of that pain, or some of that stress, or some of the stuff you can't do. So obviously, writing a comic book, you need to be fucking awesome at drawing. You know what I mean? And I'm not good at drawing at all. I can draw a stick man. That's about it. You know what I mean?
See my drawing skills.
So obviously, if that's in part of your vision, you need to have that as an ally, or it'll cost you a lot of money that you don't have when you're starting. And but another really important thing, especially sort of thinking about, going into actually monetizing it. If NFTs are looking into it, if you want to do like vinyl releases or whatever it is, you need to find someone to sell it to before you make it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you need to come up with the money up front. And you need to have that sitting under the bed, at home.
And then if it doesn't sell, you're kind of in the hole.
Yeah,
a couple of thousand. Yeah, it can be expensive, but if you do it right, then you make that money back through the audience.
Or at least have a plan to do it. Like have an initial a semi-calculated approach to it.
Yeah.
Because I reckon that the time you just throw yourself out there and which again is great too, as long as you're being proactive and sort of chasing it up.
Yeah.
All the mistakes that you do along the way, because everybody will make mistakes.
Oh,
they are a really good learning curve. So that's stuff that will help you shape everything else moving forward. And the only thing that's going to stop you from having success ultimately is if you stop. It's if you just don't do anything.
Well, yeah.
So it's funny though, like again, the more hours you allocate to it, this is again something I think I might have probably have said that on probably fucking every single episode, but get rid of Netflix. That's the best advice, man.
Unless you're researching for sci-fi,
unless you're researching for sci-fi, but you could probably do that on Google.
Books, yeah.
Again, but again, it comes down to who you are as a person, how much you want it, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It
is, and the things you do behind the scenes, and your work ethic, and your strategies, and
100%. Because it's the same. Is now and you hear this so often, especially from musicians who sort of not necessarily fail to understand the business side, but just say, look, it's not for us. That's not why we do it. Like we're real artists.
I just want to play, man. I just want to play, man.
Exactly.
So many musicians are like that, and trained musicians as well.
Yeah.
I just want to play.
But
how are you going to make a living? You're a trained musician.
But the thing is, look at you. You wanted to learn how to play jazz. Where do you go? You go to school with someone that knows how to do it, can teach you.
Yeah.
If that was you and you had to renovate your kitchen and you said you can either go and get someone to teach you how to do it, or you pay someone to do it, and then that frees up all your time that you would otherwise have to use to renovate your kitchen and put down a new floor or whatever it is, and then you focus on stuff you're good at and you're building that. That's the exact point of getting partners or paying someone to do it.
Yeah.
If you got a personal trainer at the gym, exactly the same.
Yeah,
you're paying someone to get your lazy ass out of the couch.
I want to be shredded.
Practice. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to have to stop eating chocolate for that to happen.
But same thing, it comes down to how much you want it.
Yeah.
How much are you going to pay attention? How much can you see yourself getting that six-pack, in 6 months' time when you put in all the effort. You don't eat all the chocolate.
All the chocolate. Look, I'm pretty good these days. My one vice is chocolate. A cup of tea. I'm a sucker for it. A cup of tea, bit of chocolate. It's
definitely my kryptonite too.
Yeah.
But the best way of avoiding it is not buying it.
Yeah. That's also hard. In the shop, so that looks good.
And it's always on special.
It's always
something that's half price.
There's always, I think, what was on special the other day? A big, massive Toblerone. I was like, all right.
That's like the worst chocolate you can get. It's so delicious, but man, it's so bad for you.
Oh, it's so good though. It's so good.
Again, I would lie if I said I didn't like it, man. It's
Hey, if it's just chocolate, that's better than some.
You gotta live to it.
You gotta enjoy yourself.
Absolutely.
You gotta have your enjoyments and your pleasures in on sure.
As long as it doesn't become like every night and you have a whole block and you eat like a whole Toblerone, man. That's like 3 hours on the treadmill.
Yeah, well, I think I'm there already. It's pretty bad. I'm a chocoholic, guilty.
Nice.
Yeah, but I try to balance it. I actually need to start going back and exercising. When I was younger, I was doing martial arts so much. I think the fittest of it I was like 18, 19. I was training 5 nights a week.
Shit, that's good.
It was, so I know I'm capable of that kind of discipline with training, and it's just, I think it's funny, my discipline, and it goes into, let's say, drumming or music, and then it's all gone. Then it's like it's gone into that, and I need to distribute it evenly I need to exercise. I need to do this. I need to do that.
It's also a lot easier when you're younger because you haven't been sort of poisoned by the adult world yet. You know what I mean?
Haven't been punched in the face a few times.
Exactly. And you don't have all the same responsibilities that you do. Like I know you said you don't have any kids yet.
Yeah.
But I was like the second you start a family, you know, like all your priorities change. Your whole mindset, like everything's like, holy shit, I've got this little thing.
And you got to look after it.
Makes a noise. How do we stop it? Like, and again, the same thing. You have to go back and research it, and you have to get good at incorporating this little person into your life, and then you might have another one or another one, or whatever it is. So, but also again, like, you know, starting a relationship, you know, like getting married or moving in together, buying a house together.
It's learning.
Stuff, you know what I mean?
You grow from it, definitely. I mean, my wife and I, we've started with a cat, and we're looking after a cat. So if we can look after that, it's good.
One.
That's step one.
The first step,
you know, and get used to that. Then I think a dog is the next step, because dogs are a bit more difficult to train.
Yeah, you got to take them for a walk.
You got to take them for a walk, and then they don't go in the litter box. They don't like, cats are amazing. I've been a dog person my whole life, and I've only gotten a cat since I've been married. And my wife said to me, "It's okay, Nath. It's okay. They look after themselves. They're pretty clean." It's like, surely not. And sure enough, we adopted a cat from the cat haven, I think it was, and it just went. It didn't have to train it. It just autopilot. It just went to the right spot, did its business, and I was like, "This is great. This is so easy." A dog wouldn't do that. A dog would just go wherever it felt like, you know, until you train it. It's like, no,
tell you and eat the couch. Hey,
dogs are hard.
Gotta go, man.
Yeah. So cat, and then maybe dog, and then we'll children later on.
Well, that again, like a whole different personal skill set, but
it is
so that time management, priorities.
It is, and
everything goes out the window.
Like you said, which is fascinating, is when you're younger, you do, and this is something I'm learning now. I think I've learned more about myself and just how to be there for someone and be a better person being married. Because when you're younger, you're kind of selfish. You have, you know, if you're not in a relationship or you don't know how to operate within that context, you have a lot of freedom, and you're not accountable to anyone. Well, you're accountable to your parents if they're good parents. They hold you accountable for your actions, but you have more freedom, more space to explore and do what you want. But you're right. You know, you get married, you get into a serious relationship. Now you're accountable to that person. You have to give up some of your space and be there and do that and understand that that's how a relationship works. It's reciprocal. You know, you give and
gotta be able to compromise.
You gotta compromise, and then when you have, you know, a cat, that's not as much work. But if you get a dog, you have to look after it. You have to. That takes up a bit of space as well in your life, and time. Gotta walk the dog, and then you have kids, and that takes even more. And like you said, if you're
Takes a long time for them to go on autopilot.
And if you're someone who wants to be creative and wants to, be a musician, it's like, you have to be pretty strategic in how you orientate your time and learn those along the way, or else you don't have time for those things. So I find it very interesting to be talking to someone like yourself, who's a bit more along the journey of life, and you have kids and all of those things, but you're still, I respect the hell out of you for being an artist, being a musician, being able to do that, because it takes, like we said before, tenacity.
I think again, and that's again sometimes where I've done a little bit of sort of reflecting on my journey that I'm on currently. I think it's a factor again, like if you go in and you don't have a plan B, the amount of times I've thought to myself and said, oh man, look, I haven't made any sort of substantial or real money yet. Maybe I should just go back and get that other job. But then like as soon as I've finished thinking that thought, at the back end of that comes like, but if you do that, first of all, you're gonna lose focus on your main thing you want to do.
Yeah.
You can't build that if you have something else distracting you. And I understand the fact that obviously you can only go for so long, because if you run out of your savings, you know what I mean, then again, you've got a family to look after, being the sole provider and all that. But but at the same time, if you don't give it a full shot, which is my overall point, if I don't give it everything I have, I don't mind if it doesn't work out and I have to go do something else. Because I can say to myself, regardless of what everyone else, because the whole world will tell you you're a failure before you start realizing yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you start, if you're persistent enough and you keep going, the amount of doors that miraculously open in front of you when you have that dial-in vision, where you're almost like tunnel vision, and say, this is where I gotta go, got all these distractions, I got all these bad thoughts, like on your dark days when you wake up and say, oh man, fuck you, what you're doing right now is you should be doing what everyone else is doing. You should be following you should fit into the matrix, you know what I mean? Just be a cog in the machine. Exactly. That's another philosophical question artists ask themselves all the time, isn't it? Because we are on that journey, which is we want to be creative and we want to make something of our creativity, but it can be hard to add market value to that and get your investment back, and then you start doubting yourself, and all of those questions, you have to fight them off. It's like, how bad do you want it? Like you said, it's like how bad do you want it, and how determined is your mindset? Because I reckon, and I'll stand by this, that I will happily engage in any conversation about this. I reckon if you were told you had 12 months left to live, unless you made money off your music, you would make it work. Yeah, you would, wouldn't you? 100%. Yeah, you would. Like if you get given an absolute, like the ultimate ultimatum for most people would be, to die. Yeah. If you were told that it's the same, so if you don't lose 50 kilos, you're gonna be gone in 12 months. Oh, I can't lose 50 kilos. Well, then you're gonna die. You're gonna lose 50 kilos. You're probably gonna lose 50 kilos in 10 months or 8 months. Because you will stop eating chocolate tonight. You gotta do it, man. You know what I mean? Like if give up those Tim Tams. So my whole point is, if the consequence of not doing it is so far greater than actually achieving it, I reckon that's what you need. Because it's so easy for everybody to say, "Oh yeah, I'd love to get a record deal, but I go home and watch Netflix." Yeah, and that's why I keep bringing up that Netflix. Well, you have a point. You have a point. Or because people, and this is again what baffles me every single time you talk to people. So you have people that would spend 6-7 years and put themselves into hundreds of thousands of debt to do an education that they fucking hate. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can study to become a doctor or an accountant or I keep bringing up accounting. Yeah, well, they always get shit, man. To me, it just sounds boring, man. I hate spreadsheets and all that, but some people love it. Yeah. And if that's what you want to do, good on you. Happy days. Again, like I said, you won. Like if that's what you won, if you won. But if you are a musician, usually people do something else because they feel like they have to. They feel like they need to do that to justify, playing guitar every second Friday, going out and playing a gig. Yeah, yeah. But if you invested that same time and you said, "Oh, I'm happy to invest 200,000 into Skymachine," how much do you think you could achieve? A lot. That's a lot of marketing. That's what I mean. And saying, obviously, okay, so I'm not going to invest 5 years, but I'm going to invest 12 months or 18 months, and I'm going to get a little, part-time job, no-brainer, where I know I'm going to work at Starbucks or like a coffee shop or McDonald's, whatever, and just make some, do 25 hours a week, but the rest of the time I'm 100% devoted to getting this up and running. I'm going to sit at home till 2 a.m. and look up YouTube tutorials about how to learn X, Y, and Z and connect to people, building your network and stuff. Yeah, it's so interesting that you talk about that, because my wife is a bit like that in terms of how you should partner up with her. Stubborn she is, man. She's something else. Like, I've seen her work her ass off
over the last few years, she's building a business called Eclipse Musicians, which is like a vendor for weddings and corporates and parties and stuff like that. And she is that type of person. I have a lot of respect, but it's interesting because those questions come in even as a partner. It's like, oh, you want to be supportive of someone with that sort of vision for themselves, you know, and give them that space to just go for it. Which can be challenging personally sometimes as well, but as an artist, you understand that. And I've seen her just stay up till 2-3 o'clock working on things business wise for that, and I respect the hell out of her for it. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Comes with a lot of sacrifice,
but it doesn't feel like work if it's your thing.
It doesn't. It's
probably a lot less.
I think you're more hungry and you'll put more into it because it's your creation, and you feel ownership over it and you want to see it be successful. So
it's your baby.
Yeah, it's your baby. It's your creative vision. It's easier to do that sort of work for what you've created than for a company that's whatever selling mining gear or something. I don't know.
Anything.
Anything.
It could be anything. It could be a sales. It could be retail. But, but again, whatever it is, if it's something. If it's something you're all right doing, then look, I actually don't mind my day job or my profession or my career. You know, I do the other stuff on the side, or even better, if you have something that actually sort of intertwines. So, say you run a venue, and you know, like a music venue, or say you have a digital media marketing, and you're focusing on musicians or like the entertainment industry, or whatever it is. Like then, you know, you get to combine your hobby and your business.
Yeah. It's a great point. It's a very good point.
So if you do that, or if you have the option to say, if you are the accountant, you know, and you could do something where you start helping out bands or helping out artists and stuff, you know. But the only problem about that is like accountants cost money and bands don't make any.
That's it. But
the whole thing about treating it as a business to begin with, in my opinion as well, like you should definitely consider setting yourself up as a business to begin with.
Yeah, it's in
hardly
in
costs
the works.
anything.
Yeah, it's in the works.
Hardly costs anything.
And setting up with APRA costs, all of that. Again, it's interesting to me because the way I've done this is set up all of this music and all of this sci-fi and art and put it out. But now you're saying maybe I should have done it up front and probably should have just from the beginning been as a business, but these are things that I'm thinking about now.
Oh, but that's easy. Like that's like something like that is never too late.
Yeah, it's never too late. So
you could do that now, tomorrow, next week, or something. But again, sort of given that vision you have and the scope of the project, I would do it sooner rather than later.
It is sooner.
You're coming to the end of the financial year now, so you could probably do it in July. You know what I mean? and get it as tax write-off or something like that. Well, it'd be a lot easier because again, like you can run everything under one entity.
Get an ABN. All of those things.
Exactly, and get an accountant.
Get an accountant. Yay! Can't wait. I can't. Well, I actually do have to go and see an accountant, probably a lawyer as well, about just setting up contracts and setting up agreements and copywriting and having all of those things for when we start selling. Because we haven't, we are selling things on Bandcamp. You know, you can buy our songs for $1, but that's not really, I haven't gone into marketing that. It's just it's
sell 1 million of those, man.
You just got to yes, just sell 1 million of it.
That's it, man.
When you do the numbers like that, it's funny, but you think it's really
funny actually. So like this was mind-boggling to me the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
To make $1 million when you break it down, you could have a product that's worth $100, for instance. You just got to sell 1,000 of those. You just got to sell 10,000 of those. If you got a product that's $100, if you got a product that's $1,000, you just got to sell 1,000 of those. If you got a product that's $500, you got to sell 2,000 of those, right? So by the time you sort of break it down, and obviously by the time you have a lot of various products, so say you got a $1 song and you got a $10 album, digital album download, you got a $30 T-shirt, or you got a $500 NFT, or whatever it is. Like then you can start quantizing and see how much do you actually need to sell to make $1 million.
Well, that's
or 100,000 or whatever the target would be.
Yeah. Well, my target I've got my own little target for when we start selling those things, because T-shirts are coming for Skymachine. You know, prints with all of the artworks and all of that. It hasn't really been announced yet, but that'll be like phase 2 kind of thing, where we set up and go,
wicked,
boom, this is happening. We're going to do a launch for all of these things and get that happening, and hopefully make the investment back and then some to reinvest and make a profit too. But yeah, I think that mindset is different though than the creation of everything. It's like, it's, of course, you know, it's. Yeah, and which is why I do appreciate finding people like yourself who are interested in those conversations, because it helps me think that way. Because
I could talk about that for weeks.
Yeah, it's you know, a lot of musicians, it becomes about, it's rightly so, it's about the music. It is about the music, and when you find people who are trying to run their own project, then it becomes about, well, yeah, it's about the music, but then it's also about what are the things around the music that are gonna bring people in? And that's a world. That's you know, people do degrees and masters and PhDs and economics and marketing, and I haven't studied that, so you have to learn it on Google and YouTube and just having talks with people and trying to understand that world. So yeah, it's.
I think just coming back to the music side of it. Personally, I think the music is actually not the most important. Because if you're too focused on the music, like, nobody cares if you got the best songs in the world if they don't know you.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, they always talk about the 80-20. Maybe it's like 20% musicianship, and if you have 80% business knowledge, you're probably gonna make. Yeah, then if it's the other way around, like if you're a shredder and you're 80% here musically and you got 20%. Well, that's is that going to get you as far? Probably not. No, probably not.
You will have to rely on luck, and luck doesn't work in your favor the same way as hard work or being proactive.
No, yeah.
And there's so many extremely popular shit songs out there, and every time you come across all the goodies, like all the diamonds that you find on the local scenes and in the underground scenes everywhere. They're the ones that you say, man, it's like some of these guys have potential to be so much bigger, but have zero knowledge of how to get there.
Yes.
So my point is, like, they don't have the best songs in the world. I don't think personally, I think it's going to be a long time until we get like a new Bohemian Rhapsody or like a new, you know, like those massive evergreen bands.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because the way maybe it's just because the market is so saturated at the moment. I don't know what it is, but you just don't see like Metallica's I mean, there is Metallica, but you don't see those sorts of things coming out musically where it's just huge. Maybe that's naive of me, but I just haven't seen those sorts of bands that are superstar, like the Beatles or like the Metallicas or like the
A-League, like the top of the game in their genre.
Yeah, and that just have the world watching. Maybe that's an industry thing, because there's so many pop artists coming out with these hyper produced songs, and it's like there's just so much out there.
But you still got Tool selling out stadiums.
Well, that's and that's good. Yeah. Thank God for that.
So again, yeah, but it's still. I reckon it still comes down to the fact that obviously, like, yeah, you got your Tools and you got your Meshuggahs and you got the ones where the musicianship is just so far out of your reach, because you can hear these guys are just machines when it comes to, like, they would have practiced for so long and they're so extremely dialed in to what they're doing. But there's so many other bands and really like high performing bands that are not on that level. But still write good songs. Yeah. And or really, really shit songs. Yeah. Again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But they are known. If you are better at marketing, if you're better at getting in front of an audience continually, you know what I mean? Like constantly pushing, then the songs aren't that important anymore.
Yeah. And that raises so many points.
And it's so controversial. It's so controversial.
But you're right in a sense. You're right in a sense. And the other thing that I think about music, which is really interesting. One of my favorite bands, we've talked about the heavy influence. I love Coldplay.
Coldplay is actually a good example. All their songs are super great, but they're basic, pretty basic.
So here's,
look at it.
but it's, I think there's something intangible about that's pretty special. They are a group of musicians who can play their instruments well. I mean, they're not like Dave Wackol or anything, but when they come together and they've created something,
100%,
it speaks to an audience, and that's
a massive audience,
and a massive audience, and that's incredible. And I mean, that it's not about their musicianship so much as what the song is and how it speaks to people. That's kind of fascinating to me as well. Like we've talked about, sometimes songs aren't important, or for bands, like if you have the 80% marketing, you get there quicker or something. But I think there's the other side where a band can write a song that just has so much power, and it could be a really simple song like Yellow by Coldplay or something like that. It just has that otherworldliness to it, where it has
Adventure of a Lifetime like always stands out to me as like it's pretty much the same chord progression throughout the entire song. And even the melody is almost the same. You know what I mean? But it's just one of the songs. Like it's got 1 billion views on YouTube. You know what I mean? And it's like the video is phenomenal too. So it actually has that visual aspect.
It helps. Well.
But like Coldplay is actually an example that I always comes to mind too when you are talking about a band that are probably one of the biggest ones in their genre in the world. And again, great songs. I personally actually like Coldplay a lot as well. I love him. I love Chris Martin. I love his voice. I love him as a person as well. But again, the songs are sort of fairly straightforward. You know, like they are not, you know, a 9-minute Tool song or you know, like a crazy
Slayer,
Stinger. You know, like Sugar. So, but
Changed by Karnivool.
But they have everything and more what they need. But if you look at Coldplay from when they started, and again, I don't know the background story, but I'm sure they would have started like everyone else. You know what I mean? Like you
playing pubs,
grind in the
no one.
Exactly, you grind in the trenches for a little bit, and then you get lucky. Like you put in the hours, whatever, however many hours or how you approached it to begin with, is irrelevant. But you keep going, you keep pushing. I mean, obviously, as opposed to the other bands that we're talking about, Coldplay is extremely commercial. Like it is something. Again, you can play that. You can put that in movies. You can put that
anywhere.
You can play it to kids, to adults. You know, there's no swear words. It's got everything that
that'd be interesting. A Coldplay song with swear words.
Need, you know what I mean? Like it's got that massive potential. Katy Perry again is another thing. You know. But the point is the same. Like the success criteria is the same. That they get so much like bigger and bigger and bigger attention because keep pushing all the right avenues and stuff. But you can dice it down to your niche as well. So to take your Tools, your Korns, your Meshuggahs and stuff, where you know, okay, cool. They aren't obviously commercial to the same degree, but they have a huge audience.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
and wherever they go, you know, like people will follow.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it, that there is actually a big market for heavy music. Like whatever it is about heavy music, there's something visceral about it that I think speaks to people. Like
I think it's the energy.
The energy
of it. When you go to a show and you can feel people are like, it's just you have this almost like this. I wouldn't, because like metalheads are the nicest people, man. But it's almost like
that's so true.
When you got there, you got that this brutal camaraderie. You know what I mean? We're in the circle pit, we're mushing, we're stage diving and stuff. But everybody looks after each other. They're the nicest people.
That's the funniest. Yeah, that my cousin and I think years ago had that conversation. Yeah, like metalheads get right into it and they're brutal and they love heavy music and all of those things, but nicest people and like most chilled out people, they get it all out in the pit, you know.
Exactly. And the music and like the second the song goes too crazy, like here's up, you know, hands up, like big cuddles, and
and everyone looks after each other. That's really good to see. I think, oh god, I remember seeing that firsthand at a show. It was just a local show when I was maybe 22 or 3, playing for that band I was talking about, Anchored, and I saw Pitt. It was at HQ in Leadville. Pitt went pretty crazy. We weren't playing. We were just watching one of the bands that were playing with us. I think we were I can't remember who we were supporting. We were playing the show. Someone did a horse kick. You know, one of those back horse kicks. While they were doing, and it got someone in the knee, and it looked like their knee buckled, and it looked like a pretty bad injury. But everyone in the pit said, "Hey," and they got him out. They took him out, and they did the right thing. Band continued. I don't think they saw what happened, but they actually, people in the crowd saw what had happened, and they looked out for each other, and that's really nice to see.
Ouch.
Yeah, it was an ouch. I've seen some bad ones. Another good one was at Amplifier Bar years and years ago. Someone did a stage dive to, I think it was to the right of where the crowd was, and they just landed on their ribs. There's a bathroom door just there, and they just landed really hard. And I don't know what it is about seeing people fail with those things. It's terrible. You laugh when people get hurt. But it's I don't know what it is, but yeah, I just couldn't stop laughing, and it looked really bad. I was like, "Are you okay?" And they had broken rib. They had to go to hospital, and yeah.
Well, there's a good old story about Dave Grohl. He fell off the stage. Well, Have you seen that?
Yeah. Was that the recent one where he's drinking and fell off?
No, this is. He's done it twice actually. But so he did that one. I think it's 7-8 years ago or something. In I think it was Stockholm, in Sweden. He was playing a show and he was running around with his guitar, and he just misjudged the distance and falls off stage and breaks his leg.
Ouch.
And I think he just said to the entire crowd, I said, guys, so sorry, just wait here, I'll come back and finish the show. And so they had some doctors to look at his feet and stuff. So I said, you can, you should go to the hospital, but you can finish the show. So he had a guy that was just sitting and holding up his foot. Wow. For the last 40 minutes or something. So he was just sitting down and singing.
Wow.
And I can't remember if they had a couple of days off after they went to the hospital, but I'm pretty sure they didn't cancel any shows. So he finished the rest of the tour. They just built this big ass throne, so he was just sitting in this big chair,
the king, the
Growlmeister.
You know what I mean? He is something else. He's a modern day rock star.
Exactly. To me, he's the epitome. He's if you look up rock star, there should be a massive photo of him.
Just
you know what I mean?
Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
And you see him doing a lot of good too. You can see that he has a good heart. Yeah, he's just a gentleman. Yeah.
Good dad as well. Got 3 girls.
And just killing it as a rock star. Yeah. That's funny. But man, finish the show. What a great guy.
Oh, dude, you should.
I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna look it up.
I thought you knew, man. It's it was all over the news, man. Wow. It's been up several times since, and it's actually really funny. You can go back there. It's because I went on a bit of a rabbit hole on YouTube one night. And
who doesn't?
I know. But there's a show where he comes back to Sweden, and he's on this Sweden and Norway. I'm pretty sure it's Sweden. But he goes on a talk show, and they bring in the doctor that's had him held his hand, and they sit and they have a chat about it. And they're apparently good buddies now. You know what I mean? And sort of shared that special memory there, man. But it's so cool, man. Imagine doing that. Imagine falling off, you break your leg, and you're like, no, sorry, I've got my job to do. I've got to play to these 40,000 people.
Yeah.
And I mean
that's commitment. That's commitment.
But you just instantly respect, man. You just level up tenfold, man.
King, the king.
It is, man. Yeah.
Wow. Good on him.
Being in a video game, you just beat the hero, man.
I can't imagine. Well, I suppose as a drummer, if you broke your left leg somehow, you'd be okay. But if it was your right, I don't know.
But
depends on how you play.
But the cool thing about him is he could just sit down.
Yeah. That's right.
I can't remember if he played as much guitar or if he played any at all for the rest of the tour. But he was just sitting there and just singing. Had this big cast on his.
That's the passion too, as well. When you read or hear about those things, you kind of connect with it because you think, man, that's someone who's just passionate about what they're doing and cares about the people who are passionate about.
But it's also the fucking no bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He could have said, I got, you know what I mean?
Like soccer players, I got tackled. I can't play anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can't.
Sorry, soccer players.
We have to cancel the tour. I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Broke my little finger.
Yeah. My toe hurts.
Yeah. And again, I know it's like, you could probably cover a lot of shit and say, oh, but they make so much money. I said, yeah, but they genuinely care what they do. Yeah. And it's still the fact there's no bullshit. Yeah. I gotta finish this. There's so many people that have committed, that have paid the ticket, and I want to do this. I want to play with these people. Yeah. I don't care if I've broken a leg. So what? That's nothing. It takes a lot more than that to stop me, you know. That's cool. So that again, it gives you that, and that is what I respected the most about it. Is the fact that, you know, there is no excuse. We just gotta keep going. Yeah. Like you hear stories about other bands that would cancel for a lot less than a broken leg. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't remember the band name. I can't. But there was it's a common story, isn't it? You're on the road and there's a crash. I think the drummer lost his leg or something like that. Might have been in a coma. It was something pretty serious. I can't remember the band name. That's a pretty good excuse to cancel a show. It is. But where I'm going with this is that he got a leg, you know, he got the robotic leg or whatever kind of titanium prosthetic, and he was back to drumming as soon as he was the drummer. He got back to it as soon as he could. You got the guy from Def Leppard as well. Yeah, and that's when you hear those stories, you just go respect. But that's because you're passion. So committed. You can't give up. There is no other option. Yeah. I think there's what is it? Maybe it's, I don't know if you ever saw The Wolf of Wall Street. It's a funny movie and a funny book. So good. And maybe it was Jordan. You know, as you do, you go down rabbit holes on YouTube, and I think I watched a few of his clips, and he was saying something that is similar to what you're saying about not having a backup. And if you, not just as an artist, but as a business owner or whatever it is, and you just don't give yourself any net and nothing to go back on. And it's like you were saying, if you were told you're going to die in 12 months unless you made this work, or whatever it kind of, whatever it is, an ultimatum, it gives you that panic that you do or die. Yeah. And that's kind of attractive in some sense, you know, because it's that passion, that risk taking. People are drawn to that. But what I find interesting sometimes is like, yeah, that's very interesting. It's very cool and passionate. But the actual putting that in place when you have responsibility can be hard, and that's why, like you were saying, you got to be strategic. You gotta have your game together for those things. I mean, you should really have a plan, like what it is you want out of whatever you're doing. Yeah. Like same thing. Like if you go again, just going back to the whole gym thing again. If you go to the gym, like try and know what you're doing instead of just spending half an hour on the treadmill. You know? Like if you wanna if you wanna get a 6-pack and pack on some muscle, like you need to work out. You need to lift some. Yeah. You need to move some weights. Yeah. You gotta have a plan. Diet. You gotta. Yeah, do the right exercises. Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so you need all the byproducts too. Like you need to make sure that you go all in, because again, if you slack and you go home, you buy that Toblerone. It's calling me. It's half price. Yeah, it's half price, Stefan. I can't not. But then again, but then you don't want it hard enough. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. I can't give up my Toblerones. Well, if you're gonna die. Well, I don't have a 6-pack. You know, if I was gonna die, I'd probably give them up. You get like a Toblerone pack, you know. Yeah, that's right. Get the Man, the other thing that is hard to, you know, pass up on when it's half price. I don't know if you've ever had Tim Tams, but the mini ones, life changing. So they come in like these little packets, and there's 2 per packet. You get a big bag of them, and the chocolate ratio is better than the normal one, and they just go down super well. Yeah. I remember at my at my old workplace when I was doing houses, down the lunchroom, they always had this box that was sort of where they had biscuits in it and cookies and stuff. Yeah. And sometimes I could go down there, you know, if I had a shit day, I got a long drive ahead and I'm really hungry, and like, there's like 1 million Oreos, man. They're mine. or Tim Tams or whatever it was. And you just go down and like you've eaten half of them before you even get to the car. And then when you get in the car, you've eaten half of them before you get to the freeway. But you feel better, right? You know? Oh, you come home and like my whole body was just lethargic. And I just want to sit down on the couch and my belly hurt. And like I want to unzip my pants and like, And you're supposed to go home and have dinner and you're not hungry anymore. Yeah. And I was like, but I get it. The wife's like, what do you mean you don't want to eat my food? Yeah. And then you tell her, and it's like, Oh man, why did you bring me some?
Yeah.
But no, it's I get it. It's something. It's a bad habit.
Yeah.
Or it's
yeah.
a habit at least.
It's a habit. Yeah. The bad is subjective. At least it's not, I don't know, drugs or something.
Yeah. Of course. Like you can. That's it. You can always make that excuse to yourself. It could have been meth. At least it's Toblerone.
Yeah. And we're in Perth, so yeah, meth is a thing.
So it comes down to what you compare it to, for sure. Yeah.
God. What was it years ago? Was it Bunbury had the highest concentration?
Yeah,
they did an analysis of the water.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing?
But I mean, yeah, it's to say yourself, like, you gotta live. You gotta have your drugs every now and then. Your kryptonite.
Yeah, you gotta have your chocolate. You gotta enjoy life. You gotta have that. The other thing, Macca's have been a bit of Macca's every now and then. Couldn't hurt. I've been having some Macca's. I haven't had that in years.
Right.
You just every couple of weeks. It's nice. You gotta treat yourself. Treat yourself. Yeah.
I usually, I think if I look at my Macca's routine, I think I have that probably a couple of times within 1 week.
Yeah.
And then I go like, what am I doing? You hate this shit?
Yeah.
It's nothing but poison. It's just so bad
Have you ever seen Super Size Me, that movie?
There's so many documentaries.
Yeah, on that,
I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah.
And the fact, people talk about it when they leave a burger in the pocket and like find it a year later and it's exactly the same and you can almost eat it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but obviously, but the thing is, it's not news. Like, this. Like,
it's mindset.
It's so bad for you. But it's the same as a Toblerone. Like, sometimes you just gotta have it. You just need that fix.
Yeah. Until you have the thing that does it for me is if I have a really bad feed from McDonald's where it's cold, chips are crap and old, and then that'll put me off it for like 6 months.
At least a couple of hours. And then...
No, a couple of hours. A few minutes, then next burger.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's funny.
But it's the same thing. It's breaking those habits,
which is hard. It's like what is the thing? Isn't it? Don't they say it takes about 30 days of doing a habit consistent? And this is interesting for me from a music education side or education side. Well, building good habits. You're right. It's not easy to do. You gotta do it every day for a long time before it becomes part of your routine and it feels easy to do, because we all have our routines, and if you try to interject something that's brand new, there's going to be a bit of resistance in your mind, and you're going to want to do other things, and that's hard. I don't know where that number came from, but I think it's like 30 days of consistency before it becomes easier.
3 weeks or something like that. To build a new routine.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think again, I don't know the statistics on it, but I think like for you to build a really, really bad habit, I'm sure you can do that quicker. But but I think I think again for you to fully implement that, I think again it would take maybe a couple of weeks as well. But the thing is, if you I personally I reckon you can break a habit a lot quicker if it is, again, if you have that sort of disciplined mindset and you know the outcome you want. If the outcome you want is so big that the ultimatum of not getting it is actually bigger than that. So like I said, if you wanted to say if you had 12 months to lose X amount of weight, or to make just your daily basic needs by doing music. So say you had to make whatever your lifestyle cost you, whether that's say 30 or 40 grand a year just for you to get by, to pay your rent, feed the cat,
feed the cat.
And
it's expensive.
But the thing is, if all of that would then mean, well, I haven't got my $5 per day or per week to buy my chocolate.
Well, that's expensive too.
But then again, that becomes some of the fat that you need to shed from that.
Yeah. I think you start little, you start just bit by bit. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. If you go cold turkey and you literally just ride overnight, all right, that's it.
No more chocolate. Nothing. I'm done.
Yeah. Then
it's harder.
Slide into it, but know it for the greater good. Know you like have a goal, like have that and pursue it. So if that's a matter of, just to come back to Skymachine before we round it all up, you know what I mean? Yeah. But again, like if you come back to Skymachine and say, look, within obviously like 10 years is probably a very long time period, probably a little bit of 20 or 30 years as you mentioned. But if you say like by the end of next year, this is what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
To get there, I need to do this, I need to do that, and I need to make sure that at least this is in place as well. And I'd like to start making some money. That's a goal. And so you already know, my t-shirts are coming. I would like to sell X amount. How do I do that? I need to set up a shop. I need to do blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I need to find an audience. I need to find someone who wants to buy the shirts. Yeah. then that's very attainable because it's right here. Like it's sort of like you can almost feel it because it might be a year away, it might be 12 months away, but you can see that all of that is sort of pretty attainable. If the overall goal is I want to play Solar Stadium where I have John Williams conducting in the background, and I got the whole cast, got the whole cast from Lord of the Rings, on stage. It's got to have this like $20 million production. Yeah. Then, if that's the ultimate goal, then you got
to break it down.
Baby steps. Don't give up the chocolate overnight.
No,
Like, some of it. Buy it
less
less every second.
Yeah. I know.
Once a week. Friday night.
Just when I go to the cinema.
Yeah. Or if you have something to celebrate. Yeah. Like if it becomes, wow, I sold my first t-shirt, I'm going to have a Tim Tam.
Yeah. I don't think one will be enough.
I'm going to go down, all the money made on the t-shirt. I'm going to cash it in, swap it over to in Tim Tam currency.
Yeah. Imagine that, Tim Tam, Bitcoin. That's it. Yeah, no, 100%. I think with Skymachine, I'm definitely happy with where we've come so far. From the plan. It's funny that you say, you're planning. I was in the process of planning last year where we are now, and we're in a certain space now with the releases, and it's nice. It's fun, and people, I hope, are engaging with it and are enjoying it. And the next big thing that the plan is the part 4, that's exciting. That's coming very soon, and I'm sure when that's out, it's the next step. There are all these steps, like you said, and plans and strategies.
So that's the last part of the prologue.
The last part of the prologue, yeah. Yep. So part 4 is going to introduce. I can't really say too much, but it's gonna. Watch this space. Yeah, it's gonna round off the prologue series in a way that sets up for the next thing, essentially. So it rounds off all of this. It sets up the next thing more than anything else, but it kind of introduces you to something where. Kind of goes so yeah, it's fun. I mean it's already written. I just have to edit it, and the song is charted. We have to start getting that together. The song is probably the heaviest one. It's got some double kick in there. Some bit of metal, so that'll be fun to practice. I have to get my chops up.
Some bleed.
No, none of that. I can't. No. Never. Just running 16ths. Something easy.
Fantastic.
But yeah, looking forward to that. Forward to that.
Same. Yeah, can't wait to hear.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, and thank you.
Yeah, I was about to say that's probably a really good sort of point to wrap it up on. But awesome. Where should people actually go and check Skymachine? Where's the main platform?
The main Well, we're on Facebook, so you can go, and our handle is all the same. So it's Skymachine Perth all the time. So we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and then our website is called SkyMachinePerth.com. So if you like what you see on those channels, which give you little snippets, you can go onto the website and deep dive, and you can experience the whole prologue series and read a bit about us and listen to the music and read the story and watch. We have some live videos of the songs on there as well. But the tricky one for me is Instagram. Instagram is hard to build. I'm finding Facebook is easier, so I'm trying to work on Instagram. So if there's anyone listening out there that can give us a like on Instagram and spread the word on there, that would be amazing. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
So we'll look out for the music soon, and
September.
Yep,
September.
Fantastic. You should start a YouTube channel as well, man.
We have. It's again, Instagram, YouTube are hard. I'm trying to figure those things out. We have our videos on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah. All weekend. Good.
Yeah.
So Skymachine.
Scott, you can just look Skymachine Perth again, and then all 3 live videos are on YouTube where you can check out. But they're on the website as well. It's all under one tab, the prologue series, and you can read each installment, and it has a link to the video as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wicked, man.
Good fun.
Wish you all the best, man.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. You're welcome, man. It's a pleasure.
Legend.
Cheers, dude.